Isn't it nice to remember that we're never far from home? If we just remind ourselves of that. And today, we are very blessed to have with us an internationally renowned speaker, workshop provider, and webinar giver. Eugene Holden was here yesterday, and we had a big group of us in the outside in Sibley Hall, and we all got to experience the possibilities that he helped us to remember. And so we were talking, and he said, well, gee, when is it we met? And it was in Asilomar in 2007, and the theme that year was emergence. And so I recognized, and I saw yesterday, this internationally renowned Eugene emerging into his full power, his full presence, and we all felt it in that room. I mean, it's like he glows, right? And so today we get to experience him live and direct, and we know that now is the time. Now is the time, and so let's give it up for internationally renowned Eugene Holden.
I love you, man. Absolutely. Woo-wee. Wow, Dave, you were right. To get up to be here and then to look out, there's nothing but beauty. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to come in and play in your playground. I used to say play in the sandbox, but the sandbox is too small. In fact, the sandbox is in the playground. So thank you for allowing me to come and play in your playground. I want to first give thanks to Reverend Kathleen Sibley for allowing me to stand in her pulpit once again. Ministers, you know, when they call someone to stand in their pulpit, I don't take that lightly because that shows a lot of trust. And so it's a good thing. Golly, man, 2007? Sheesh. I'm not that. Anyway, so. By a show of hands, who was at the workshop yesterday? Yeah, we had a good time. We had a good time. Talking about the power of possibilities. And today we're talking about now is the time. And in my notes, I have to say this. Check on the time. That this morning was a little different for me in my preparation. I want to thank the Kimberleys for hosting me in their little small house. And this morning's preparation I have this process that I do before I come and speak or do a workshop or whatever it is that Spirit guides me to do. And this morning was a little different in that I went back to my roots. Listening to, and they're not, well, I went back to my roots of listening to the Agape International Choir, because I was a part of that choir, I was a part of that community for a long time. And then I came across a song that got me to Agape in the first place by Nikki Harris. And it's called A Change. A wonderful change has come over me. And that's what got me back into religious science was, listening to that song. And so as I'm preparing this morning and I'm in my meditation and I'm singing, I hope I wasn't singing too loudly, Tom and Sandy. Because I was just in the choir. I was like, oh, yes. But then there's this stillness that has come over me. And I'm usually a little more animated than I am right now, but it's still young in the day. And then you guys sing the song, Be Still and Know That I Am God. And I had to put that at the top of my notes. Be still and know that I am. I am. And now is the time for us. Oh, there it goes. Now is it. Oh, shucks, here we go. Hang on. Now is the time for us to recognize that we are the I am. As Jackson alluded to, Dave reminding him and telling him that, I am. I am. Those are very two important words. And let me explain why that is. So from the Old Testament in the book of Exodus, Moses is in front of the burning bush. We're not in Denver, so the burning bush has a totally different meaning. And in the book of Exodus, the burning bush it symbolizes enlightenment. Moses has come to himself. And so he's instructed by God, by the way, that is within. No voice on the outside. It's always an inside job. And he's instructed by the infinite to go to the children of Israel and to Pharaoh and say, Pharaoh, let my people go. Oh, my people, we're going to go here. So Moses says, all right, Yahweh, who do I tell them sent me? And I'm going to go, okay, I'll go ahead and do it. There was a little bit of argument between God and Moses, or Moses and himself, about being chosen, to go and give this message. So God says, tell them, Eheye asher eheye. We have it translated as, I am that I am. The Jewish scholars say that there really isn't a definition or a translation for Eheye asher eheye, but it means that I am that I am. I am becoming what is needed in the moment. I am what you have to have now. I am that I am. Tell them that my name is I am. Catch that. Tell them that my name is I am. So anytime we use the word, and I say word, I know there are two, but I like it as one. Anytime we use the word I am, we have just taken on the name of the divine. And anything that we put after that, we create. I am magnificent. I am wonderful. I am feeling a little down. I am feeling a little unworthy. And when we put anything after those two words, we create that. We create that. I am, there's such a beautifully powerful word. Scripture says in Deuteronomy, do not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. So anytime we put anything negative after I am, we have taken on the name of God. We have taken that in vain. But the verse goes on to say that the Lord, which means law, will not hold one guiltless who takes the name in vain. So in other words, if I continue to say I am not worthy, that law that I speak into, that they say, that the word Lord, which means law, the law would take what I say, what I feel, what I think, and give me exactly what I think, what I feel, what I say. Does that make sense? So what that causes us to do, folks, is to be aware of what we say, to be aware of what we say, especially when there's a feeling tone behind those words. See, because I can say all day long, I am prosperous, I am abundant, but if my heart is going, I am not worthy, exactly. The law laughs, and it's going to give me exactly what I feel. So, what we want to do is to align all of that. We want to align our conscious mind with our subconscious mind, which another way is of saying to align our minds with our hearts. Now, when do we do this? Now. Now is the time. I want you to look at each other and go, now is the time. Just smile. Now is the time to laugh. I don't hear any laughter. What's up? Now is the time. Look at your neighbor and say, I am so glad you're here. Look at your other neighbor and say the same thing. I am glad that you're here. Right? Ernest Holmes says, we are not living in a physical world, but in a spiritual world, peopled with spiritual ideas. We are now living in spirit. We are now living in spirit. Now, I'm going to say something here that may shock a few of you. Is that all of us are addicted. What a shock, right? But I'm not talking about being addicted to drugs or alcohol or shopping or any of that. What I'm talking about is we are addicted to time. We are addicted to time up until today, up until now. Because we're either thinking of what happened in the past or what's going to happen in the future. In the rooms of AA, you've got to be sure this is clean, Eugene. They'll get the idea. Good. It is said that we have 1 foot in the past, 1 foot in the future on the present. Yes. Whizzing on the present. Right? Yes. But here's the thing about that. Because now is the time. And here's, the thing about the time, or now being the time, I can only think about the past now. And I can only think about the future now. Because there is no past. There is no future. Because when the future comes, it is now. Right? Take a breath.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. Take a breath again. You know what I love about the breath, and there's so many things I love about the breath, is that not only does it oxygenate the blood and it feeds the organs, more importantly, the breath reminds me that there is only now. Because I can't take a breath for 2 minutes from now. I can't take a breath from 3 minutes ago. I can only breathe now. So today we are kicking the kicking the habit of being addicted to time. Yeah, I know we have to plan, like tomorrow's a meeting at 10 o'clock, but we make that plan now. Once the plans are done, let go of the future. It isn't even here yet. And always be in this moment called now, because as Dr. Holmes said, we are now living in spirit. I would like to change that, as I do with Holmes's writing sometimes and everything else I read. That we are now living not only in spirit, we are living spirit. We are living, you are living, we are living spirit. So now is the time for us to create whatever we want to create. Remember those 2 words, I am. So now is the time to say, hey, I want to experience this now. This is why when we do affirmative prayer and affirmations, that we always keep it in the present, right? Practitioners and ministers in the room and students of Science of Mind and Spirit, right? That's why we keep it in the present. So languaging is so important. Be aware, not careful, be aware of what you say. Remember, you may remember hearing this, right? Be careful of what you ask for. Be careful of what you ask for. 2 things about that saying. Number 1, why do they say, and this is not a rhetorical question, I like people to talk back to me. Why do you think they say, be careful of what you ask for? Because you're going to get it. Why? Because there is an infinite intelligence that only knows how to say yes to us. That's just law. Doesn't have to be any spiritual thing or religious thing. That's just law. We plant a seed in the ground. The law goes, here you go, here's the plant. So, because we're going to get what we say, so don't be careful of what we ask for. Be aware. Be aware of what you ask for, because it's going to come to pass. So because we don't want to be careful, because being careful conjures up feelings of fear. Oh, you got to be careful. You got to be careful of what you ask for. No, let's be aware, because now is the time for us to grow into who we are. Who are you? Yeah. Is this working? You are the way that Spirit shows up. That God so loved the world that it turned upon itself, clothed itself, breathed into itself, and then named itself you. Yeah. Yeah. which means that you can stand up and go, you know, right now, I am magnificent, because you are. I don't care what the past has said. I don't care what the people in the past have said about who you were. Now you get to stand boldly and go, I am magnificent. I am creative. I am joy-filled. I am a nut in a good way. Eckhart Tolle, in The Power of Now, says, you see time as the means to salvation, whereas in truth, it is the greatest obstacle to salvation. You think that you can't get there from where and who you are at this moment because you are not yet complete or good enough. But the truth is that that here and now is the only point from where you can get there. We can only get there from here and now. See, time is an illusion. I had a young child tell me a number of years ago, you know, Mr. Holden, that's how young the child was, and they had so much respect. I was a little taken aback. My father is Mr. Holden. You know what, Mr. Holden? Time doesn't exist. Clocks do. I'm like, out of the mouth of babes, right? But think about how true that is. That clocks are what exists. Time is always now. The Kimberleys were telling me about a clock that they saw where on the clock it says, now. What time is it? Now? So when are you going to be free? Now. When are you going to smile? When is your health going, yeah, you love to hear the word going to be, right? When is your health going to be magnificent? So then we take out the word going. My health is magnificent. I am free now. I am prosperous now. I am abundant now. Wallace D. Wattles, I love this dude, in The Science of Getting Rich. A very up-to-date book, copyright 1910, but up to date. Whatever your action is to be, it is evident that you must act now. You cannot act in the past, and it is essential to the clearness of your mental vision that you dismiss the past from your mind. Let me read that one again. It is essential to the clearness of your mental vision that you dismiss the past from your mind. Okay, I know none of you, but as I say, I like to say, none of you but me and some of your friends. We get stuck in the past. You know, when John Haas clarified that he and I have been knowing each other since 2007, and the theme for that particular convention at CSL was emergence. Man, and at that time, I was so mentally young in this thing called science of mind, though I've been practicing it for over 30 years now. So it was over 20 years that I'd been doing that at that time, but I was so very young in what I thought it was, because I got stuck in the past. You know, I got stuck in thinking about what my friends and family would say, and sometimes I still get stuck in that. You know, as I had mentioned yesterday in the workshop, that I am a card-holding alumni of MSU, making stuff up. But then it was brought to my attention yesterday, MSU, not only making stuff up, but making self up. Because in this moment, we get to make it up. We get to make up the lives that we want to make up. We get to make up what we want to experience in this moment. In this moment. See, here's the thing about the law, is that once we get clear on what it is that we want to experience, once we get clear on who we are to be in this moment, And then we speak our word from a place of grace, from a place of conviction. Dr. Holmes says, do not be wishy-washy or willy-nilly. That's in the textbook. It really is. Can't remember the page, but it's like, okay. Because the law, we have to be, we are to be clear and confident in who it is and what it is that we want to experience. Waddles goes on to say, you cannot act in the future, for the future is not here yet. And you cannot tell how you will want to act in any future contingency until that contingency has arrived. See, folks, there's always, and it is only now. Now, I know some of you might be thinking of the future, like, I wonder what cookies they have in the social hall, but you're thinking about it now. Or like me, I shouldn't have eaten all that food this weekend, but I'm thinking about that now. It's not funny. Eric Butterworth, a Unity minister, talks about, but remember, you do not have to get more substance for all, this is beautiful, but remember, you do not have to get more substance, for all the substance of the universe is present right where you are. We don't need to go seek for it. It's already here. But you see, in terms of substance, that which stands under, all of it is present right now. So we don't have to go looking for our wealth. We don't have to go looking for our joy. We don't need to go seek. Well, all we are to do is to be still and know that now is the time. Now are we the sons and daughters of the Most High. It's an interesting thing when you read that, right? And I put in daughters because it says, now are we the sons of God. But the translation is not quite right. In the ancient writing, son was spelled S-U-N. Now are we the sons. Now, why do you think they use the word son? Because the sun, not only is it bright and brilliant, it gives life. So now are you the life of God. Now are you, each and every one of us, each and every one of you, now in this moment, are you the divine expression, inspiration of the one. And I'll close with this. How time flies when I'm having a ball. And I've already said this before, but I want to repeat this. That God, life, infinite intelligence, whatever name, title, label works for you. That God so loved the world that it turned upon itself, clothed itself, breathed life into itself, and then named it you. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Now is the time. Now is the time to allow that inner splendor to come forth. Now is the time for you to allow all those infinite possibilities that you might have been hanging on to be set free. Now is the time to glow. Now is the time to fly. Now is the time to go, you know what? I don't believe the BS belief system that I grew up with. Now is the time for me, for us, for you, for me, for we to be free. Now is the time. Now is the time for prayer. I love this man. And so now we take this breath. Recognizing that the breath that I breathe and the breath that we all breathe is the one breath, and that is the breath of God. It is the breath of the infinite intelligence that is living, moving, and having its being in, through, and as each and every one of us. And so it is with this sacred breath that I speak this word, and the only word that really needs to be spoken is God, which is that infinite intelligence out of which all things are created. And in its original form and by its very nature, It permeates, it penetrates, it fills the interspaces of the universe, meaning that there is no place where life is not. There is no place where God is not. There is no place where love is not. And so I recognize that this infinite intelligence is at the very center of all of life, from that little grain of sand to the expansiveness of the galaxies. For in the beginning, God. It is the Alpha, it is the Omega, it is the in between that. How grateful it is to be in the awareness that now are we free. That in this moment, the only moment that there is, that God is all there is. And so recognizing and acknowledging that God is all that there is at all times, I know that all times that God is present right where we are. Right here, right now, God is, we are. So I speak this word from a place of knowing that God is not a was in the past or a will be in the future, but God is that presence that is always revealing itself in this eternal moment that we call now. And so it is in this awareness of our oneness in God that I speak this word, knowing that in this moment all needs are met for each individualized expression of the one sitting here at CSL Prescott. That right here, right now, all of our needs are met. Right here, right now, we step into and from a vibration of joy and gratitude and awesomeness. Why? Because now are we the light of the infinite. Now are we spirit. So call your own name out loud. Again, call your name out loud. Yeah. These are the names of the divine. These are the names of the beloved. And so now we lay claim to this, knowing that as we stand boldly in who we are, we allow that infinite intelligence to live and to move and to have its being in, through, and as us. We allow that infinite intelligence to move and guide and direct us to experience only the highest and the best. Now we say yes. Now we say yes. Now we give thanks. I am so grateful. So knowing that this is already done, knowing that this word is already revealing itself as our lives, we give thanks for this and for so much more than these eyes can see, than these words can hear, or these ears can hear, these words can ever possibly convey. I remain forever grateful and thankful. Come on, man. And I release this word into the law, knowing that as I release it into the law must return our words unto us completely fulfilled, simply because our word is the law unto itself, knowing only its own fulfillment. Or as Dr. Holmes would say, the word, of course, is spirit's ability to declare itself into manifestation, into form. And so we declare that in this moment, it is done. And in this moment, we allow it to be by anchoring it and saying, and so it is. Amen.
Yes.
Whew.
Yes, give it up for internationally renowned Eugene Holden.